Well, good morning, friends. It is a glorious morning here in Hawaii, in Honolulu, on Oahu Island. Hello, Philip. Welcome. Thanks to all of you for coming and joining me and bringing your friends as you're able to do. It's a special day for me, um, personally. And let me, if you don't mind indulging me for a moment, I'd like to share why. On the 14th of September in 1975, I was ordained to the ministry of Word and Sacrament for the Presbyterian Church, which has now become the Presbyterian Church USA in parentheses. And I am so deeply appreciative of this day because it represents accumulation of of a history, my family history, my church history, my spiritual development all over those years, and then it represents also what has been for me the most meaningful and fulfilling experience to serve in church. Hello, bald eagle. Welcome, Corby. So on the 14th of September, I always remember this day very wonderfully. It's something that I celebrate, and I'm grateful to be able to share. So this morning, as I listened to the Mystic with you here in Hawaii, hey, good morning. As I listened to the Mystic here in Hawaii on this day which is the anniversary of my ordination to ministry of Word and Sacrament, I'm very much aware of how much I've grown over the past, how many years is that? 42 years? How much I have grown and changed. And just like these flowers, they didn't work to be beautiful. The growth that all of us experience really is a natural evolution, a natural movement in our lives. And to be able to share that with one another is, I think, of a wonderful significance. For me, most of my growth and movement has been, first of all, through the institution of the church, but then beyond the institution of the church. And I don't know if you can understand. I think you may be able to. There are really two ways people leave the church or any religious institution. One way is that it no longer, they say, well, I just don't feel in tune with it. It doesn't feed my ego. It doesn't take care of my needs. That's one reason. The other reason is that people grow beyond it. They have a broader perspective because the religious institutions, like every institution, works to keep its members in place. And when you grow beyond, in terms of your understanding of God, beyond the identity of the tribe, then it often maybe cannot fulfill that longing to know, to know. And I've said there's science here. Life is like a layer cake. There's science here, and that's what we see here, touch, feel, sense. And then there's this other level, which is the mystic. And it's into that mystic that I invite you with these daily doses of readings. It's there that we are connected with the universe, connected with the divine, connected with, the one enduring reality. I'm drawn to Kabir this morning. Kabir was from India, a Muslim, possibly Sufi Muslim. And he wrote words like this. I said to the wanting creature inside me, what is this river you want to cross? There are no travelers on the river road and no road. Do you see anyone moving about on that bank or nesting? There is no river at all and no boat and no boatman. There is no tow rope either and no one to pull it. There is no ground, no sky, no time, no bank, no food. And there is no body and no mind. Do you believe there is some place that will make the soul less thirsty? In that great absence, you will find nothing. Be strong then and enter into your own body. There you have a solid place for your feet. Think about it carefully. Don't go off somewhere else. Kabir says this: just throw away all thoughts of imaginary things and stand firm on that which you are. What is that touching you? Stand firm in that which you are. Stand firm in that which you are. I read a little phrase today from the Carmelites, which said, you will discover the mystic within. And I believe that too. Stand firm with what you are. In other words, we look externally on the science level, but it's to experience that mystic within. And when it serves to connect us, that's when, I believe at least, I want to propose to you that all the scientific, observable, wonderful world that we live in has its purpose in driving us deep within ourselves to discover that which is unchanging and which is, well, not unchanging, but that which is the mystic, the direct connection with the universe. Kabir wrote this poem. It's called, Are You Looking for Me? And this is actually a word from God, or the universe, however you want to phrase it, the power of love. Are you looking for me? I am in the next seat. My shoulder is against yours. You will not find me in the stupas, not in Indian shrine rooms, nor in synagogues, nor in cathedrals, not in masses, nor kirtans, not in legs winding around your own neck, nor in eating nothing but vegetables. When you really look for me, you will see me instantly. You will find me in the tiniest house of time. Kabir says, student, tell me, what is God? God is the breath in the breath. Part of my own journey is to look for similarities across different religious lines or different religious orientations and writings. And perhaps you know that according to the second chapter of Genesis, after God was playing in the dirt, actually. God was playing in the mud, and playing in the mud, God fashioned an artifact. And then that artifact God looked at was kind of like the way God looked. And so God breathed life into that artifact. God breathed into the nostrils of Adam. Adam, which means red clay, actually. And God breathed life. And that's why, and it's similar that Kabir says, it's the breath. God is the breath in the breath. The breath in the breath. Dwell with that for a little bit. Let that sink in deeply with each breath you take. God is the breath within your breath. The divine is ever present. And it was not something from which we can get any distance, actually. I'm reading from Kabir, an Indian mystic writer, and I bring these mystic readings to you, hopefully in daily doses, when I get back on my schedule, so that for you and me, we can enter into the mystic, so that it will awaken in us a consciousness and awareness of that universal oneness that is pure love, an energy of love. So welcome, people. Here's what Kabir has to say about bride and the groom lie hidden for 3 days. She gives him his eyes. She found them among some rubble, among some beetles. He gives her her skin. He just seemed to pull it down out of the air and lay it over her. She weeps with fearfulness and astonishment. She has found his hands for him and fitted them freshly at the wrists. They are amazed at themselves. They go feeling all over her. He has assembled her spine. He cleaned each piece carefully and sets them in perfect order, a superhuman puzzle. But he is inspired. She leans back, twisting this way and that, using it and laughing incredulously. Now she has brought his feet. She is connecting them so that his whole body lights up. And he has fashioned her new hips, with all fittings complete and with newly wound coils, all shiningly oiled. He is polishing every part. He himself can hardly believe it. They keep taking each other to the sun. They find they can easily test each new thing at each new step. And now she smooths over him the plates of his skull so that the joints are invisible. And now he connects her throat, her breasts, and the pit of her stomach with a single wire. She gives him his teeth, tying the roots to the center pin of his body. He sets the little circlets on her fingertips. She stitches his body here and there with steely purple silk. He oils the delicate cogs of her mouth. She inlays with deep-cut scrolls the nape of his neck. He sinks into place the inside of her thighs. So gasping with joy, with cries of wonderment, like two gods of mud sprawling in the dirt, but with infinite care, they bring each other to perfection. So if you're male and the divine is female, enjoy that. So if you're female and the divine has some male components, enjoy that. It's a relationship. It's a relationship of love in which there is such a connection and interconnectedness that we're co-creators of one another. Just as just as in a love poem like this, we can say that that we are helping to shape each other, helping to bring each other to life as we live with each other. Well, I'm in a wonderful website called Poem Hunter, and it has a variety of authors. One of which now I've touched on, which is Robert Frost, one of the great poets of Americana. And I love this poem. This poem had so much significance for me as I was growing up. And let me share it with you. The Road Not Taken. You've heard it. You know it. You've lived it probably. Hola. ¿Cómo te va? Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not carry both, be one traveler long I stood. I looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference. It's very, very moving for me, because as a young man in high school 50 years ago, along with my friend Philip, we sang this sang this Robert Frost poem as part of our performance in choir, Shining Mission East. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. For being one traveler, long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. It was wonderful, wonderful to experience that. And so it was that at my younger years, I decided to take a road less traveled by. That being in not being a minister, although that was part of it, but being concerned about in this world for the love and justice of one another, because living at this plane in the mystic, that's what is reality, is loving and caring and compassion. So let me see how I can find one more. Bear with me a minute here. How about Maya Angelou? No, it's not populating her poems just yet. Da, 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 da. I know why the caged bird sings, don't you? The free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends and dips his wings in the orange sun rays and dares to climb the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through the bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, and he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with fearful trill of the things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade wind soft through the singing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn-bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams. His shadow shouts on a nightmare screen. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. Dear friends, let me leave you with that last bit of wisdom as a dosage for the day of the into the mystic. Welcome into the mystic, and may you live there today in all of its beauty and wonder and fullness.